Hey everybody, my name's Lacey. I am boss lady here at Hounds Hideaway. I have a milestone scary birthday coming up this week, and for my birthday, I'm taking my dogs Brown and Yellow, who can't be bothered to be here with us at this moment because they're taking a nap. We're going on an epic road trip that is very dog friendly, and I'm going to document it and tell you all about it, but I realized yesterday that I am used to having my friend Dr. Lori next to me all day, every day at work, and I'm not gonna have that. So she and I have been working on dismantling a pet first aid kit that I got on Amazon and adding some really cool stuff to it. So come and build a first aid kit with us for taking your dog on a road trip. This little guy on Amazon, and I decided to start with a pre-made first aid kit because it would cost less than going and buying all these pieces individually. So this is what we started with. This is everything that was in it. Instead of going through it, I'm just going to tell you what we took out and what we replaced it with. So my goal was to get almost everything in this little container, and we almost got there. So I had Dr. Lori look at this with me, and we agreed that probably the rescue blanket would not need to be in there because dogs have a coat of fur and we're going to be hiking in the warm weather, so we don't need that. We are taking out the Benadryl and the Neosporin. We are going to keep Benadryl, but I'm going to show you how we have it packed a little differently. And then we've got another wound care item that I'm going to show you instead of this. Let's see. There were tweezers in this little set, which tweezers are great for many, many things, but there was also a needle in there, and so we decided to take that out because that's scary. So we're gonna keep the tweezers because if your dog were to be on a hike, get cut, and get something stuck in there that could easily be removed yourself, that's definitely handy to have for many reasons. The pack came with hydrogen peroxide, and we're gonna keep this in here. This is only to be used to induce vomiting. This is not for wound care, flushing, anything like that. This is only if your dog were to eat something and you need to induce vomiting. And we don't know what this is. So I think it's like an ACE bandage, but it's gone, it's over. We also are going to take out these antiseptic towels because we like the alcohol pads a little better just for disinfecting purposes in order to treat a wound a little bit better. We're also going to take this little pet first aid guidebook out of here because you have ChatGPT, right? No, I'm kidding. All right. So what I'm going to add to this is my favorite thing. So Dr. Lori and I worked on this today, and basically it's a canister with different medications. It comes apart. Got this on Amazon as well. I can give you guys links to these if you are interested in them. But my dogs in particular are prone to allergy things. They don't like planet Earth, I guess. And yet I want to take them hiking, but that's okay. So we put in some common medications that she knows how my dogs will react to. They've taken them before, but they're good to have on hand in the event that we need something quickly. And again, the intent of a first aid kit is not to treat, it's to triage. So this is about just getting your dog through until the next morning when a vet hopefully opens. Even if you're out of town, you still want to seek medical care, of course. So these would be things that could help get you by until some sort of clinic is available. We put in cough tablets, methocarbamol, which is a muscle relaxer. So normally I think the go-to is more of I think vetprofen, but interestingly, when we were talking about this, she reminded me that those profens, if you will, interact poorly with steroids like prednisone, which we'll get to. So in the event that your dog would need a steroid, you can't mix it with any of those vetprofen. So the methocarbamol would be great if your dog injures his back, something like that, and needs something to help with pain quickly. Benadryl is always good to have on hand for bee sting, anything like that, any kind of allergic reaction. Sucralfate, this is something that can be used for stomach upset. It's kind of a big tablet, but that's a good one to have on hand if you have stomach issues.
Prednisone, good for many things. I particularly wanted to get a hold of it in case of like a snake bite or a sting, just to cut down on swelling quickly. And then Apoquel, my dogs take Apoquel periodically anyway, and so we just put this in here to make it easier in case there's allergies. So all of these things are things that the vet clinic has given us prescriptions for, but we put them in this little container just to make it easier so that I can put them all in this little package. And if something were to happen, heaven forbid, and we needed to get to it quickly, all the medicines are there. I can see them and not having to dig through 15 different green bottles. So and then we put nail clippers in here. These are you just can't go wrong having nail clippers with you. You never know. That's one of the most common things that gets snagged even at daycare at hounds. So just always good to have nail clippers on hand. And then also I have a little cloth muzzle that I got, and I know that is scary to think about, but one of the things that can be very common if a dog is injured and you are trying to help them, they don't necessarily know that you're trying to help them. And so that is a really common place that people find themselves getting bitten. And so before you go to treat an injury, putting a muzzle on a dog is just a good idea. It helps keep them safe, keeps you safe. This is a comfortable one. It's breathable. Again, your goal is not to have this on them for very long. It's just to make sure that you and your dog are both safe while you're trying to treat an injury. This product, Vetricin, this is what we are replacing the Neosporin with. I like this better because this can be used to treat hot spots as well as your average everyday wound. Hot spots super common if you're going to places where there's water or your dog's going to be swimming, and so it just saves space from having to have multiple different products. This is like a miracle product in my opinion. I use it on myself, just so you know. Any kind of cut, scrapes, any kind of wound care, this stuff is awesome. Longer, so I would get that if you can, and just keep that all the time, even when you're not traveling with your dog.
Now, as we're packing this up before your trip, make sure your dogs are up to date on all their vaccines, including flu, even if flu isn't prevalent where you live. Put a copy of those in your kit, because if you do end up at an ER, they're going to ask about them, so you can save critical time by already having them ready. Finally, I love having a small town vet here with us because they take the time to help their patients be prepped for things like this. A first aid kit is better when it's custom, and it's worth the call to your vet to see if they can help with yours. Thanks for building this one with us.